Hello and welcome back to Buckle Up. I'm Harry King.
I'm Jasper Bruce Wright.
And I'm Rob Wilson.
And this is an INEOS Grenadier.
Right, okay, so let's have a look at the features on the INEOS Grenadier. This is the first time we've had enough time with the car to do a bit of a walk around.
Yes.
So Jasper, tell me what's going on.
Well, we've got a very prominent front bumper, haven't we? Big
do.
old bit of plastic here. It might be a bit of a hint at the fact that this is quite good off-road. We love the headlamps, these circular, well, nearly circular designs here, all LEDs as well, great visibility, extra set of lights here,
Yep.
very off-roady. Might be a bit of a theme with this vehicle.
You can also get a winch if you want built
Yes.
into the bumper, and it's the first car ever to be homologated with a winch in
Yes.
its front bumper.
And it's really well integrated if you do get one. Love the design of the bonnet.
I've never seen it anywhere before in my life.
So at the side, we've got this. You do have a little badge on the bonnet that says powered by BMW, hint hint. And speaking of off-road, steel wheels, aka correct, and chunky all-terrain BF Goodrich tyres, proper stuff fitted from factory to these cars.
Look at this. Look at these. These are attachments you can put onto the side of your Grenadier, so you can have jerry cans or animals attached to the side of your car if you really want something there. We've got proper chunky door handles, obviously.
And they're not door handles you pull. The latch is released with a push of the button.
And close it. That doesn't sound like a barn door.
It sounds like quality.
Yeah.
Sounds like proper quality. And something that's very off-roady, external door hinges.
So you've got these attachments up here where you can hang things off. You've also got auxiliary power pre-wired up here for any of your accessories. So if you want to put lights up here or any other power takeoff, you've got that. Also, directly up onto these roof bars, you can take 150 kilos. However, there's an upgrade for a Rhino roof rack that will take even more weight. So if you want to have a full overland setup, you can do that. This is a utility wagon, which means you get these panels in the rear here rather than a window, which you would get if you got the station wagon. It's also important to note as we move round, rear lights here, round again, just like the front lights. And there's a very important reason for that. All of these light fittings are identical, which means that if you crash, then there's only one thing to replace. You're not trying to get the left or the right hand light for your car. And it also means unit price is down because it's one light that fits everywhere. Little touches like that they've approached this car with to make it.
Smart engineering and design choices.
If you'd like to open the door.
I shall open the little door first because
The Jasper door.
you have a split folding tailgate, except it's a vertical split instead of a horizontal one.
But
So
it's unique, fairly unique to have the small door opening first.
But it makes so much sense.
With good reason.
Because-
In a tighter space, you can still open the door. When you're towing a trailer, you can still open the door. If this big door opened first, as it does, thank you, you would, this is sort of 3.5 feet worth of tailgate. So if you're tight up to a wall or any other obstacle, you can't open this. You can nearly always open this. You can open this in less space than a flip-out tailgate. Makes a lot of
Absolutely.
sense.
Yeah.
Big old boot.
Space, and because this is the utility wagon, it has a bulkhead in it.
Yes.
So if you have a dog or a couple of ewes.
Well, yes, this has been designed to take 3 sheep, dead or alive.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the premise for this, is you fit 3 live sheep in here and be able to take them around the farm, or a bale of hay, or I suspect a Euro pallet. You'll notice up here this job. So this ties in with this part at the top of the tailgate, and actually it's part of the structure of the rear, so it adds an extra, effectively, piece of strengthening in the back, which adds to body rigidity, which makes it better off-road. You've got a full-size spare wheel, important for an off-roader. You also have a storage box inside that we don't have the key for. Oh, we do.
No, you can open it.
So you can put your tools in there, your jack, that sort of thing. It's very handy.
I reckon we could get Jasper in there.
Well, as the resident short arse here, what's it like in the back? With this being the commercial model, these seats are quite upright and my legroom is a little bit more limited than it otherwise would be. Now, in terms of headroom, I'm absolutely fine. I could be this height of Rob and probably quite a bit taller and still have plenty of headroom in here. But where I would suffer if I did have longer legs would be that knee room, that room for my feet. The normal or the station wagon version of this vehicle, without the bulkhead here, has a better backrest position and a little bit more leg room as well. So people as tall as Rob are actually very comfortable in that. Just here with the commercial version, you do suffer a little bit. But obviously you get that additional utility back there, so there's a trade-off. Materials are very good, nice cloth seats, soft touch door cards, nice bit of plastic down here, very different layers of things in the door cards, and you've got a decent sized cup holder down here. Widthways, it's great actually. This car is certainly wide enough to comfortably seat 3 people. This car is certainly wide enough to comfortably seat 3 people, but because it's an off-roader, you do have quite a large transmission tunnel in the centre, and the centre console protrudes backwards quite a bit and is quite unwieldy to get your foot over, hence my delicate movement earlier. So also down here I have a USB Type A and USB Type C socket on the right hand side, and I've got 2 air vents. No climate zone for these rear seats, but you do at least have dedicated air vents, which is a good thing to see. And these seats sit higher up than those in the front, so you've got stadium-esque style seating, which certainly aids forwards visibility.
Hello. Once you're in the front, and it is a bit of a hike up here, you are greeted by actually quite an interesting different interior. You've got this optional brown steering wheel, which I like very much, obviously because it's brown. You've got all of the normal controls like your cruise control on the left hand side, and then volume and seek on the right hand side. You've also got a toot button, which is for warning cyclists. Obviously INEOS are known as a chemical company as well, and they sponsor a lot of bike races, so that's a nice touch in there. You've got a whacking great screen in the middle, which can have your Apple CarPlay and Android Auto and all of that sort of stuff if you want it, but it's also got all of your off-road features in there, and we'll show you a little bit of that later on. One thing to mention is it does have the Tesla style speedo on the central screen. You do have a very small screen in front of you here, but that is mainly, well, entirely just for showing you your various different off-road lights. So if your diffs are locked, if you're in off-road mode, if you've got your hill descent control on, blah 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 blah, it's all shown in there, because this is first and foremost an off-road vehicle. In the centre, you've got all your controls, which it looks a little bit like the control panel in a nuclear power station in my mind. So you've got buttons for changing the direction, speed, temperature, all of that lovely stuff. Heated seats in this model. You've got aircon buttons, parking sensors, all the usual stuff. It's just set in a more interesting way, in my opinion. Further down, you've got the gear shifter from a brand. It's BMW. Because obviously this has got BMW engines. You've got your high-low locking diff, everything lever here. Below that, you've got a scroller for helping you go through the screen, and also for shortcut buttons for audio, all of that stuff that you would normally have. A couple of cup holders. You've got a bin in the middle there. You've got a proper manual handbrake, also finished in brown. You've got a glove box, which is big enough for things. And most importantly, you've got this Top Gun style overhead switch fest, which makes you feel like you're in a fighter jet. Also on this, you can spec these overhead glass panels, which are above the driver and passenger seat, and I would have those if I was going to have a Grenadier, because I just like them. It's like having a sunroof, and they do pop open as well, so you can have, if it's a nice day, pop your glass roof open. We'll fiddle around with a lot more of this stuff when we're going off-road, but right now I think what we should do is drive it on-road, because we haven't done that yet. Right, okay, so Jasper Bruce Wright, you are now driving the Grenadier on a road.
Indeed I am.
which we haven't had chance to do thus far.
No.
We've driven it around a quarry,
Yes.
which is very exciting.
It was, and it was very good at being driven around a quarry, wasn't it? It was impressive.
We've been passengers in one.
Yes.
How does it drive?
Well, I mean, I've not really driven it particularly far.
You've driven it 200 feet, and therefore you can form a conclusion on
as
the
a
driving
motoring
dynamics.
journalist, yes.
Important motoring.
As a very important motoring journalist.
Yeah.
Well, it's certainly very comfortable, isn't it? It's very well damped, the suspension's compliant, it's not uncomfortable.
Nope. These are not adjectives or things I would use to describe a journey in an old Defender.
No.
No.
We can't forever compare this to the old Defender, though, guys. We've got
No.
to compare it to things you can actually buy instead of it.
Yes.
So,
Which are
the new Pretender.
Disco 4.
No, Jasper. Disco 5 is the
Disco
one that's
5.
currently on
Yes,
sale.
sorry, Disco 5 even. Numbers.
Range Rover Sport, which is that's
Yes.
the Land Rover bunch. You've
Yeah.
got the Jeep Wrangler.
yeah,
Yeah.
You've got the Ford Ranger
yeah,
up to the Ranger Raptor.
Yeah.
You've got the Toyota Hilux,
yeah,
Yes.
SsangYong Musso,
yeah.
and the Isuzu D-Max, and then the VW Amarok.
Yes.
Yeah.
The other, I mean, they're all
Their pickup.
body-on-frame
Yes.
vehicles
Yeah.
like this, and can be, decked out to be very off-roady.
Yeah.
I'm going to say out of the box, this will go as far as any of those cars and a lot further than a lot of them.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
In terms of on-road manners, where are you placing it, Jasper?
Well, I mean, in comparison to, say, the Musso, this is worlds apart in terms of it's better.
It's smoother ride.
So much smoother. And I think, well, in terms of body-on-frame vehicles that I have been in and driven, I'd say this is certainly up there amongst the best.
Yeah. And you owned an
I did
L322
indeed.
Range Rover. So
I did.
in terms of refinement, where are we at? I'm suspecting it's not going to be quite as refined.
It's
as
not
that.
as refined, no. It's not quite as quiet, but in terms of ride comfort, I'd say it's not far off.
And that's impressive.
That is impressive because obviously the Range Rover had air suspension. This
Yeah,
does not.
and a monocoque.
Yes. So for a body-on-frame, solid axle vehicle with traditional springs and dampers,
Yeah.
this is very impressive.
Yes.
It is worth saying, though, front and rear solid axles,
Yes.
made in Italy by the same people who do them for John Deere.
Yes.
They
So
do
they're
know
very
what
robust.
they're doing.
But the point I'm getting onto is even the body-on-frame vehicles I mentioned, the pickup trucks, a lot of them have just a solid rear axle.
Yes,
Many of them don't have solid front axles anymore.
indeed.
And yet this is more refined than all of them,
Yes.
which is so impressive.
It's a massive testament to the effort that's been put in by the engineering team at INEOS Automotive because it really is so impressive.
Ibex springs and Bilstein dampers.
Yeah, they've gone
Brembo
to,
brakes.
Yeah.
they've gone to all of the companies who are very good at doing something very specific and gone, yes, we'll have them for this car, please. Thank you.
BMW engines.
BMW engine, ZF gearbox, Tremec transfer case, and it's the 8 HP 770
Yep.
gearbox for any nerds out there. The Tremec system was designed from the ground up for this vehicle because they weren't happy with anything in the marketplace, so they got something designed from the ground up.
You can have utility wagon, station wagon, or coming next year, which we've done a video on at Goodwood, the Quartermaster, which
Yes.
is the pickup.
Indeed.
So you can get this one that we're driving now on the road is a utility wagon with 5 seats. You can get a utility wagon with 2 seats if you so wish. And then the station wagon you can either get 5 seats in that, or there's is it Belstaff edition or whatever they call it?
Yeah, that's the top rung one.
Yeah. So yeah, and the Quartermaster also has 5 seats. In case you were wondering.
Oh, also it's a recirculating ball steering system.
Yes.
And it's a light commercial system.
Recaro seats as well.
Yes.
Yes.
And actually, these seats are very comfortable.
Yes. And we're reliably informed by people who've used them for 10 hours a day
That they hold up.
yeah, that their arse hasn't
Fallen
imploded after sitting in it, which I don't think would be the same if you were in a more commercial vehicle like one of the pickup trucks.
No.
Or definitely not.
I could say, for example,
Defender.
that after 8 hours, the headrest on the Isuzu D-Max becomes rather irritating.
There you go. Going back to the engines, this is the petrol.
Yes.
You
Yes.
can have
3 litre straight 6.
Yeah, you can have also a diesel 3 litre straight 6, still from BMW, and this one will go from 0 to 16 8.8 seconds. The diesel's 9.9.
Limited top speed of 99 miles an hour.
Yeah, not really sure that's overly relevant information to people who are buying
Probably
this car.
not.
0 to 60s and stuff. I would obviously go for the petrol because I think diesel is a sin.
Sounds good.
It
does.
It sounds meaty.
It sounds purposeful.
Well, essentially, this is the engine that you're going to have in a 340i or the basic engine of an
yeah.
M2.
Any 3 litre straight 6 by BMW.
Yeah,
This is it.
which we all know is a good power plant.
It is.
They've tuned this though, so it provides maximum torque under 2,000 RPM.
Which is good for off-roading.
The petrol's got, well, there we go, 450 newton meters.
That's 1,750?
Yes, and then the diesel's 550 at
1,250.
1,250. So that is obviously going to be more torquey, but diesel engines are.
Yeah,
Yes.
but also over 400 new meters
Oh,
of torque
yes.
below 2,000 RPM.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
just very impressive because not many engines are capable of producing that amount of torque from that low in the rev range.
Petrol engines.
Yes.
Yeah.
Petrol engines, obviously.
Okay, so it's your go driving now, Rob.
It is indeed. And what the hell was the editor of Evo magazine talking about? Power!
Hey, that's not bad, is
Not
it?
bad at all. It just sent the spec sheet at me. So you're driving on a dual carriageway now, Rob.
Yeah.
What are the road manners like?
It feels like a car, Harry.
Is it driving in a straight line?
Yeah, I haven't crashed once.
Are you playing side to side?
No, all you have to do is drive it like a normal person.
Anyway,
Yeah, it doesn't self-center. Okay,
It's not going to. It's not designed
you
to.
just get used to that.
Well-
I've driven it for 30 seconds. I'm
Yeah.
used to it.
it's not that it doesn't self-center.
No, it's just a
It
lot slower.
self-centers very slowly.
Yeah,
And it's designed to do that.
yeah.
because
that's the point.
off-road.
Yeah, the big point is off-road, it won't break your thumb. Which
No.
other off-road vehicles
Might.
can.
Yes. I actually quite like the steering. Like the feel of it
There's
is.
good communication
Yes.
in it,
Yeah.
isn't there?
I think on road you do lack a little bit, but
At lower speeds on
at
road,
lower
you do.
speed, yes.
But then-
higher speed, you get a bit more weight behind it, I think,
Yeah.
which certainly does help.
But nice and smooth.
Hmm.
It's obviously got a ZF gearbox, which is, as we all know, the best
best.
gearbox
Yeah.
that you can buy. The steering isn't as insane as other people have said that it is. You just have to get used to it. These seats are very comfortable. I've got a good view out ahead. I can see behind me. What we haven't talked about yet is probably the only thing that stopped me getting one of these so far.
Yeah.
How much are these?
Vehicle.
Well, do you know the base price off the top of your head?
Well, if you go for a utility one, then it's going to be a lot less. But I know that I spend my evenings speccing cars quite often, and I've specced one of these. And I believe that because I was picking the top spec and then speccing all of the different off-roady things that I would like on it, it
Yeah.
was £80,000+,
Yes.
which I don't have.
No.
But I was Googling, and it turns out I've got 2 kidneys, and I only need one of them.
Yeah.
So, if anyone would like to buy one of my kidneys, leave a comment.
Okay, I'm now driving, and I think the first thing I want to say is, what a seating position. Is he right down over the bonnet? I feel commanding over the road. It's a really pleasant position to have, to look down on everyone.
Yeah. And I can see over you.
Yeah, the stadium style seating is brilliant.
Yeah, it really is.
And you know what? This doesn't feel very wide.
No.
It is wider than an old Defender.
Yeah.
But actually, in a land of over 2 metre wide Hyundais,
Yeah.
this feels very reasonable. And we're on narrow roads here.
And it's very easy to place because of how square it is.
Yes, I can see all of the extremities of the vehicle.
And you know that where your window stops at the back, that's where
the back of the
vehicle
car.
stops.
But what do you think of the steering? Because that has been the point of contention on the internet. Is it
People are mad.
Yes, load of nonsense.
I think it's not even the self-centering or anything else. It's just, this is a slower rack than any other modern car, barring a Suzuki Jimny.
Yeah.
On a road like this, you need to work it a little bit.
Yeah, you're doing a lot of steering.
But that's because it's designed for off-road
on
use.
purpose. People are missing the point.
Yeah.
So yes, the interior of this isn't the same as the interior of a Land Rover Discovery 5.
No.
But this has been built with a purpose. And this has been built to have a 15-year working life. This comes with a 5-year unlimited mileage warranty. That's personal use, that's business use, and off-road use.
Yeah.
And the expected working life, they've designed it specifically to last for over 15 years, being used commercially on a farm.
Yeah.
But stuff like the way they develop the paint means that you can get a slight scratch when you're going off-road and you can buff it back out again.
Yeah.
You don't have to take it back down to metal and repaint it. Stuff like all of the corners have small panels on them, so if you get a dent, all you have to do is replace a couple of panels. You're not there replacing an entire wing. And the lights being completely sort of modular. You only have to replace a cluster, and a cluster is a price. There's not a left and a right hand one. But if you think about the price being £80,000, but then think of it in the context of, but this is for 15 years.
That's great.
As a business purchase,
yeah.
It suddenly more than justifies its price difference compared to a pickup truck.
Yeah, because most people nowadays are PCPing 3 years, big balloon payment, whatever.
Yeah.
Not bothered. People buy these sort of cars like they bought the old Defender to keep forever.
Yes. And also the chassis, it's not galvanised, because a galvanised chassis only lasts 10 years.
Oh, so it's not good enough.
That wasn't good enough for INEOS.
Ah, okay.
So they do coat it, and they wax cavity seal it, and they've got a 12-year perforation guarantee.
Wow.
So it's actually, you're in good hands. They've paid attention. You also can't weld to a galvanised chassis without releasing noxious gas into the air. So, it's just all of the detail, and when it's been built with a really specific purpose in mind about being the most utilitarian and the best off-road, and they've nailed it. And the on-road driving manners are
so good,
for a car that's been so single-minded in its execution.
Yeah.
They've actually not been single-minded.
Yeah.
This is a jack of all trades.
You can wade this through water up to 800 millimeters. The doors have 2 seals in them, which stop that water ingressing. But when you're on a road, that stops as much noise coming through. So you're more isolated.
This is the most purposeful car that I think I've driven in a long time. As in, it knew the brief, it has achieved the brief, that's it.
Yeah.
There's no questions. It's like...
Well, and there are cars that are as single-minded as this, but sometimes it's a compromise.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Ranger Raptor.
Yeah.
Where they've thrown everything they can at a Ford Raptor, but my God, it feels wallowy and weird, and you can tell it's had major surgery to make it happen. The road manners aren't as good. Or the stuff like the Jeep Wrangler, where the road manners aren't as good. That feels compromised as a car, and while this isn't like driving a normal car, it doesn't feel so alien. It doesn't feel like something's wrong.
No.
It's just lovely.
And with that,
Back to the studio.
Let's do a conclusion.
Yes.
Yes.
So, the INEOS Grenadier. What are we thinking, guys?
It's great.
Yeah. I mean,
It's amazing.
I literally just offered to sell my kidney for it, so that sort of gives my overall impressions of this vehicle.
Yeah, I feel a real attachment. I really, really like this car, and it's really, really fun.
It gets under your skin, doesn't it?
It's got great manners on road, so comfortable, so compliant, capable, and off-road, wow,
very, very good option.
The most impressive.
Yeah.
So there you go. INEOS Grenadier. Why go anywhere else? Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe. If you go down to the description, you'll find that there are many social medias down there where you should follow us. There's also 2 ways to support the channel. So we have a merch store where you could buy lovely, lovely merchandise like this with our logo on it, and we have channel memberships where you can sign up and support us right here on YouTube. So please go and do one or all of those things, and I will see you, as will you two, next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.